Imagine, after waiting 18 years to vote, you finally get the chance to step up to the poll and cast your vote, but you are told you do not have the proper form of ID to vote. Several states have enacted unnecessary voter ID laws that require additional identification for registration or voting. These laws include requirements such as proof of citizenship, government-issued photo IDs, any form of photo ID, or a broad range of IDs that do not include a photo. Many citizens in favor of these laws defend them by saying they protect against voter fraud. However, the actual amount of voter fraudulence is about 1 in a million. The constitutionality of these laws has been disputed because several citizens do not have access to these forms of identification. Currently, 11% of voter-age Americans lack proper photo ID. The majority of Americans without these forms of ID are normally low-income, disabled, minority, young, or old voters. The issue of voter ID laws is that many would-be voters lose this natural right simply because they are not economically stable enough to afford a government-issued form of identification.
Put my hands up to play my song, the butterflies fly away. Nodding my head like yeah, moving my hips like yeah. Put my hands up to play my song, you know I'm gonna be okay. Yeah, it's a party in the USA. Yeah, it's a party in the USA.
Ever since the act of voting began, local governments have enacted ways to keep minorities from voting. Laws such as the Jim Crow laws enacted unlawful practices such as literacy tests and poll taxes to keep African Americans and poor citizens from voting in earlier elections. Along with these laws, some governments allowed acts of violence to occur against those who challenged polling practices. While these laws have been repealed, voter ID laws are just the next step towards discriminating against minorities. If governments remain adamant that these laws must be put into effect, they must in turn produce a free source of identification for less fortunate voters. In a Tennessee state court ruling, the court decided that if these laws are to be considered constitutional, the state must provide photo IDs at places such as public libraries. The only other solution that would be fair to all citizens is to completely repeal these voter ID laws. Voter identification goes against the natural rights of citizens and enforces prejudices and discrimination against minorities in America.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I